Right. The night was sultry.
Especially tonight like tonight.
You may not find us on your TV, because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The O2 Radio Network.
Well, at least the jingle singers are ready. And the green room looks like it's facilitated for some spooky Halloween activities. See, even the S meter on the video, even the S meter isn't even where it's supposed to be. You know, that is strange. Anyway, welcome to what we often call the Old Tube Radio Network, something that has been happening here in the Central Valley on Saturday evenings for the last 35 years or so, with various tube radios, SWLs, and net controllers beaconing across the airwaves. Tonight, October 31st, 2020, we will try it once again, assuming all the equipment works here. I know your radios will work perfectly. We'll see what I can do with mine. My name is Dennis, your net controller for the Old Tube Radio Network, where you might hear us on channel 11-27085 in the Central Valley of California. If the DX is happening tonight, who knows where our signal will land. Also at oldtuberadio.net, which is working on the audio side. I am having some trouble getting the comments page to come up, so I don't know if any of you are out there listening that are trying to leave comments. If you're able to do that, I'm not able to see them just yet. On the video side, hello to you. I see that seems to be working properly, and so I'll catch up and see who is out there. So, in the meantime, we'll do what we do best, and we'll do what we are supposed to do, and that's check in the tube radios after the directed net roll call. And it seems like no matter how much I adjust the RF gain, it gets really loud, so perhaps we do have some conditions. I've got the OTR special jacket, shirt, and the pocket protector ready when we start checking in radios, but right now, let's try for the SWL. I'm looking for 00 if you're around.
Welcome, foolish mortals, to the haunted mansion. I am your host. Your ghost host.
Well, good evening from the radio morgue. I'd like to wish a happy Halloween to all of the SWLs, both alive and undead. This is SWL 47 and co-host Mr. Paul Frees saying good evening.
We've got Paul Frees and Stan Freeberg tonight, and a host of ghosts and goblins that I hope that Google YouTube will not see fit to take out of there. It sounds good. Things are happening at the morgue, the radio morgue, I should say, and we've got you checked in and getting us started off. It sounds spooky over there. Thanks.
Why, thank you.
00 is in. It is going to be one of those evenings, and usually when we have an old tube radio that is on All Hallows Eve, strange things can check in or stop by the frequency. SWL number 1 is also checked in. SWL number 2, I saw him listening in on Old Radio Night. I have not yet even tried to scroll through the video page, but I see a test or two. And he says that Eleanor's given all the candy to the grandkids. So things are looking good over there in OBP land. And I've got OBP checked in. Hello, Kevin. SWL number 3, I've got a proxy check-in for Mr. Lone Eagle, which I will do here. SWL 4. SWL5, I saw Ida, Mama Rose today, and she says, say hello to all the old tube radio operators and shortwave listeners, and we've done just that. SWL number 6. SWL7.
SWL7 checking in.
And sounding good doing it. Got you checked in. Thank you, Ed.
And thank you.
I feel like I'm in the strange vortex where all the video things are a little bit crooked. But maybe that's the Halloween thing. Maybe that is the ghosts and goblins just trying to stir things up a bit. And I guess that's okay. Heading over to SWL 13. SWL 14. And I apologize. If you're trying to check in at Old Tube Radio Net, go ahead and do so. If you have the comments page coming up, go ahead and leave comments. At some point, it will either show up here or I'll figure out how to get it at some point, and I can go through the items and make sure that I've got everybody checked in that needs to get checked in. I think it's running on Flash, which is burning and crashing at the end of the year, so perhaps that is the issue. SWL 15. SWL 16. Shortwave listener 17.
17 checking in.
All right, getting louder. You must have put that antenna up another couple feet. It's sounding good, Eric. We got you checked in.
Thank you. Have a good evening, everybody.
Big signal internet control tonight. SWL 18. And I did pull the foot switch apart, and there are no adjustable parts. There's no way to adjust it other than what it's doing. It's a very simple construction. I think I overpaid for it. I thought maybe it would be real elaborate, but it's not. But it's working. It's keying the radio. Getting a proxy check-in for Mikey from Facebook. Oh, also, SWL 16, I called 16, and that is, he probably doesn't know it. He probably doesn't know, but I know it. That's our digital listener, Charles, from Anoka, Minnesota, now at SWL 16, who was out there early to help us get set up, and everything went great. I sent everybody off and said, go out and do what you need to do and be back during showtime. And, of course, I think I tripped over a cable and messed things up. So I've taken all the good work that Derby, New York, and Anoka, Minnesota have done for us. But I will figure it out here. So, Charlie, if you're listening, you are checked in. SWL 16. Put a Post-it note on the SWL radio for future check-ins. Speaking of future check-ins, SWL 1914047, it is out there at the top of the page. Saying, what did you do? No, I haven't done anything, but it's the comments aren't showing up. Over to SWL 20. Now, I have a note to check in Harvey, because he might be away from the microphonium, but if he pops in a little bit later, we'll get the X in the square. Harvey, if you're listening, if you're one of our stations from, I don't know, Minnesota, New York, I don't think so, California, possibly, San Francisco, Centerville, Virginia, Somerville, South Carolina, Dayton, Ohio, hello, Woodland Park, Colorado, waiting for the skip conditions, Sacramento, Oakland, Auberry, Kerman, Fresno, Cicero, Illinois, Squamish, BC. The BC group is in there listening. Hello to Seattle, Washington, Atlanta, Georgia, and a host of others. Which may be you. Thanks for checking in. We will have some great tube radios, some spooky tube radios coming in. So 20 is checked in. SWL 21, Mr. JT. I was listening in to old radio night tonight while I was running around the shack trying to figure out what all the issues were, and of course JT had the Tram Titan 2 and the Phantom. What a great reverse preamp to have for Halloween on air, and he also had some very spooky decorations on the radio. Let me see if I've got some audio from old radio night.
They got a weird sound.
Well, something was there.
I didn't know problem with them. Man, that noise like that just puts me to sleep. Well, you're used to it, you know.
Getting some static tonight, huh?
Now we got problems with them iguanas. Puerto Rico or Hawaii?
I'd love to have one of those Tram Titan 2 radios. Anyway, JT, looking good and sounding good on old radio night. Check it out from Dirty Diaper 21 on your old tube or new tube or any kind of radio. Old radio night is good. It takes vintage and non-vintage and old radios and says, bring them there and come on along. All right, JT, you are checked in from the Wasama Swamps, and that's what I need is the world's longest ground rod to make things work around here.
Question, did you get 10 and 30?
Let's see. Oh, you know what? That's the other thing. I've got a wrong list here because it doesn't even show 10, which I will add. So yeah, Chrissy is in, and then we're coming up to 30. It didn't, when I reprinted this list, I see what happened. It did not print out the new item on number 10. I'm going to make sure I got the right list. Looking around. Okay, I got 34. For some reason, and I apologize, Chrissy, are you listening? Are you out there? Yes, you are. For some reason, it didn't print you up on the sheet here. I will reprint this later on and make sure that Idaho is well represented here on page 1. Let me go back and put the X in the square. There it is for number 10. Just one of the many things that has gone awry here this evening. 19 is checked in, 20 is checked in, 21 is checked in, 22 not there. Let's head over to SWL 23. Mitch in the 23 Skidoo. I'm not sure where you're at tonight. I saw San Francisco, but I think that is somewhere. I think that's probably X4000 at San Francisco tonight. I'm just checking the list to see if I see Stan in there. I've got a lot of people on the video site, so I will make sure that I go through everything. And Chrissy isn't. All right. Well, we'll put a hold on 23. How about SWL 24? SWL 25.
There's monsters out there, Dennis. 25, check it in.
They are out there, and some of the crafty, spooky, creepy goblins are in the studio here tonight and playing with the knobs and switches and the wires. So I will be careful. Don't send any more my way. I've got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Your old Tube Radio Network waiting for the spooky radios to check in over on page 2 looking for SWL 27. And I do believe I have the crossband wired in. At least I think I do, so if you want to try a crossband check-in, we might actually hear you. Let's see. That, I see what happened. See, it put Chrissy back at 28 for some reason. And we all know that the Foxtrot Tango India is indeed SWL 10. So let's call shortwave listener 29, put a proxy in for Mr. Loner. And, of course, the radio frequency interference. The Dwayne at SWL 30 is in and checked in. SWL 31, I'm sure that I saw Hendersonville, Tennessee in, and yes, you all are there. Again, my comments on the main page are not refreshing. I can see the people, but I can't see what you're all saying. So if you're around and on the video side, those I can see for some reason tonight. So you are checked in up there in Hendersonville, Tennessee. Hope you're having some good DX that way. The sunspot numbers are up and running. The A index is good. 15 meters was open. I heard stations on 12 meters, and I even heard some stations up on 10. So the band was pretty much wide open this afternoon. SWL 32. SWL 33, that's myself. I'll give myself and the gang a check-in here while I can. Green room is open. There is all sorts of good stuff over there tonight for the Halloween safe celebration. So before you check in on the air, stop by and pick something up before you head into the air chair. Over to SWL 34, and that's Jimmy. I think I saw Railroader coming down the tracks here. I am going to move. Oh, yeah, checking in. 546 from Batavia, Illinois. Happy Halloween, says Mr. Fielder. Thank you. Thank you, Jim, for checking in. Having some technical issues tonight, but I'm halfway there, I think. SWL 35, Mr. Bill in Cheyenne, Wyoming, who is probably checked in on my comments.
W7 DDX.
But you just never know. There's DDX checking. I actually hear him better on FM than I do on AM. A little better on sideband, but
W6EDC.
But it sounded good on the 2 meter side. Yeah, if anybody sees the comments, let me know if I'm missing something. SWL 36. SWL 37.
SWL 37.
All right, hitting those Snickers bars a little bit heavy tonight, I think.
Yeah, and M&M's peanuts.
Yeah, there's going to be a lot of sugar-induced shenanigans going on tonight. You're sounding good, Chris. I got you checked in.
Thank you, Dennis.
Over to SWL 38. SWL 39. SWL 40.
SWL 40 here on the crossband. My microphone is disconnected from the other radio. K6VLF.
All right, you're sounding good. Got you checked in via the crossband. I think my microphone should be disconnected on this thing. I'd have fewer problems. Thanks for checking in, Larry. Over to SWL 41 out of New York, Road Dog 507, right on time. I don't know how he does it. He must have a good internet connection. It's always right there. From the Hudson Valley of New York, I should say. Having a happy Halloween where it is, I guess the ghosts and goblins are still hanging out on the east side this evening. Over to SWL 42.
Yeah, proxy and 42 in the gang.
Will do. SWL 43. SWL 44. I think I hear that guy. Hey, even on the AM side, AM and FM, and I'm sure if he wanted to, he could be SSB as well. Sounding good, Ray. We've got you checked in. Over. Over to SWL 45.
Oh, yeah, you're sounding good tonight. 45.
And thank you, Paul. I'm just making an RF gain adjustment here. It seems like my noise level is big there. I'm not trying, all the people listening in, I'm trying to not make them go away with too much band noise. I hear you, Paul. You're sounding good.
Thanks, Dennis.
I think I heard the sideband to check in too, so that's all modes. For 44, 45 is in. SWL 46. the guy that got us started off, SWL 47.
Well,
Well, good evening one more time from the Radio Morgue, SOEL 47. On a rather sad Halloween evening, I went for a walk earlier this evening just before the show. Usual walking route for trick-or-treating, and I have to tell you, there are no trick-or-treaters out in our neighborhood. So it's, I guess it's nice, everyone being nice and safe. So, good evening, and happy Halloween again.
Yeah, I'm sure there's something going on for the trick-or-treaters, or they're staying safe doing something. I think it's the same around here. I won't know. We've left the porch light on over in the exit or the entrance to the green room, so anyone and everyone is welcome over there. But here in the control point, I'm trying to stay stealthy and keep things from falling apart. Thanks for checking in yet again. SWL 48, SWL 49. SWL 50.
50 checking in, and would you also proxy 650, please?
All right, we'll get to 650 in as well. Sounding good as always. Mark with a big signal here into Midtown. We've got you checked in. SWL 51.
SWL 51 checking in.
All right, 305. Dave is in. You're sounding good. Got you checked in. Over. Over. Over to SWL 52. SWL 53.
Hello, Dennis. 53 checking in.
SWL 53. Hello, Bob. Mr. Bel Air sounding good on the old Tube Radio Network tonight. Thanks.
Thank you.
Speaking of sounding good, I see the Bob and Steve show has made their presence known over on the Facebook page. I managed to see that post. Happy Halloween, they say. They put lots of Halloween trick-or-treats up in the balcony. No wonder many of you are up there tonight. I think there's little buckets of candy all over the place, so nobody should go wanting tonight. Bought it, candy at Costco on the card. You know, Costco has those big $15 bags, I don't know, a couple of pounds. So my guess is there's probably a lot of those around. I haven't looked at the card. Jingle singers ate so much that they may sing a little off-pitch because of the sugar high. Well, that will probably kind of work tonight, the way everything is tilting and sort of off-pitch. So we will excuse the jingle singers. Just don't leave the chocolate mess on the RCA 44 microphonium. And at the bar tonight, what's going on? They have apple cider, pumpkin pie, whipped cream, and coffee. Costumes and masks optional, but clothing is required on the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, Bob and Steve, always taking care of us out there, making sure that everybody has a great time on the Old Tube Radio Network, and I hope you will tonight as we check in a few radios. Going over to page 3, getting the check-in for SWL 54, over to SWL 55, and I will give a proxy check-in for M&M. I heard on the Friday night net that he is still working on all the things he needs to do over there, so it might be a while to get back on the air, but could be listening. So M&M is checked in. Let's go over to Mr. Grandpa after SWL 56. And then over to SWL 57. That is Brown Dog. Could be in on the video page. I'll scroll around and make sure that I don't miss VDA if he's in there. Over to SWL 58. SWL 59. SWL 60. Got a note to Proxy and Joe if he doesn't make it on the radio, and I will do that. SWL 61. SWL 61. Hello, Dean. We've got you checked in here on the old Tube Radio Network tonight. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. Happy Halloween, man.
Yeah, looks like I'm going to have plenty of opportunities to get sugared up tonight. SWL 62. SWL 63. And 63 is Butterbean. I didn't see if he checked in on Old Radio Night tonight. But I'll keep an eye out if he pops in here at the Old Tube Radio Network. SWL 64. Shortwave listener 65. SWL 66. SWL 67. And Bill said he was going to try and be on. Let me go over. I thought I saw the Oregon station somewhere on my list of lists here earlier on. Might be in on the video side, but Bill, I'm going to get you checked in because I know I saw Canby, Oregon on there at some point. You might even hear us tonight. The conditions have been opening up in the evening of late, so stay tuned. Stay tuned to this station. Over to SWL 68. SWL 69. Kenny did stop by and check in on the video, so if you are there, I'm going to check you in. I'm going to put a check in for 69. So when you stop by and watch the video, you will see that indeed you have the X in the square. Over to SWL 70. I know a lot of people are probably taking care of the Halloween situation. SWL 71. I did see Stan. I'm so used to looking for Mr. Announcer icon, but I think he was up and running over on the video side. So, Stan, I know you were there. I will get you checked in and probably find your comment at some point. Yeah, checking in. There you are. Get you checked in. What's going on? It's the sprint. Some type of sprint contest going on. Will you give your first name and something else? I don't know how that works. We even have the HF. We even have the HF radio in tonight. So we might be able to hear some of that CQ sprint contest going on. Maybe if it gets slow, we'll see what's happening up on 40 meters or 75. But it's up in the audio board tonight. At least something like that is working. Seems like the band is. Yeah, see, there they are doing their. They're out there doing their thing. Let's try SWL 72. SWL 73. SWL 74. I am going to get a check-in for Miss Jilly, who is probably taking care of things out of the radio room tonight.
That is correct. She's cooking down some spaghetti sauce for tomorrow. So thank you, Dennis, for checking her in.
I knew that I was smelling something good coming through the window here from the north. Over.
Yeah, over to you, Dennis. Anyway, back to your roll call. Anyway, thanks, Dennis.
All right, thanks for the check-in. Over to SWL 75. SWL 77.
Well, good evening, Dennis, and happy Halloween to all the listeners. And 77 on the Tower of Power in the Tower District. Waving a hand.
And a big hand it is. Sounding good on all modes of operation. Thanks, Dennis. SWL 78. That's Richard up in Everett. Who's in Washington tonight? Nobody. I know we had some earlier. SWL 79. SWL 80. Heading over to page 4, I want to... Let me check in over on the video side where there are comments. I know a lot of you have moved over there because that's the only thing that seems to be working for the comment side. Hello to Private Thor and the Squamish Group and the Haunted House of OTR. Boy, it is definitely haunted tonight, it appears. Mr. DDX checking in. Also, DD21 is in there tonight. Who else? I see Paul. Hello, Paul. Good evening, everyone. Semi-crazy in South Arkle checking in. Yeah. Well, it's that kind of crazy thing going on tonight. Joe is in. 433 Roadrunner from Millville, New Jersey. Another one of our New Jersey stations, probably checking in on the old radio night as well and stopping by the old Tube Radio Network here tonight. Good to have you aboard. Also, Jimmy in. He's there. Chrissy is in. Who else is in? I checked in Mr. Road Dog. Charlie Hustle, 55, from Baltimore. A lot of West Coast DX today. It was pretty good. Had to get in there early in the morning and late or early afternoon, and then it faded out pretty quickly. And it was different, like I said, it was different stations coming in. A lot of South America also on 10 meters was sounding good. Neil, I see you there. We'll get to you in just a bit. The mighty KUH, Brian is checking in on the old Tube Radio tonight. Hope you are doing something cool in the radio room tonight on one of the classic or old-time radios. You never know. You never know what Brian's going to be keying up. Popcorn 913 from Alabama. Oh, no, he said he got Tennessee, Alabama, and Georgia today from his location. So DX is definitely running. Let's try page 4, SWL 81. Who's the break OTR? Try again. There is no audio. Okay, I think you said 24. All right. Joseph, I've got you. The audio is very weak on the radio there, but I've got you checked in 24. All right, now it's got a squeal, so there is something wrong in River City. It's got a little bit of audio and a lot of squeal, but I know it's you, and it's keying the radio every time. So those connections are good. The key-up connections are good. It just seems like the audio input connections might have some issues. Let me get a proxy in for Steve Areno, Mr. Unicorn, who could be listening in from somewhere. Hello, Steve. Over to SWL 82.
82, live and alive and proud from the ditch banks of Biola.
Down and good from the ditch banks of Biola as I struggle my way through the net tonight, despite my best efforts. Thanks for checking in.
Thank you, Dennis.
SWL 84. SWL 85. And you know what I'm going to do? We're going to get 84, 86, 87, and 88 on the check-ins here for that group, because I know they might be out there listening, might not be able to transmit. So if you're listening in Cheerios Kid and the Mountain Maid Tandy Girl and Snowy Owl, we've got you checked in. Over. Over to SWL 89. SWL 90, we've got a proxy check-in. SWL 92. SWL 93. I will get a proxy check-in for Louis. I didn't hear him earlier, but that doesn't mean he wasn't there. SWL 98. 98 is in. Hello, Dave. We've got you checked in here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. We've got Tube radios coming up here shortly, so don't go away. If you got a Tube radio, I suppose it's probably warming up. It'll have a chance to jump into the air chair in just a moment, so we'll be looking forward to that. Next, we've got SWL 103. SWL 109. SWL 110. Shortwave listener 111. I'll get Robert checked in. I think Wrigley was in earlier. I can't see the comments because usually he says he's got a noise issue or something. But he does give it a try each week. 109. X4000 is in, asking if the stream started late. I think everything started late. No, the stream was up probably 4 or 5 minutes late as I was trogging through some problems here. The comments page is still not working on the oldtuberadio.net page. I don't know what's going on there, but I see everything on the video side, and I think the transmitter, that's the main thing. The transmitter receiver is working because that's where our tube radio operators hang out. I want to make sure that is up to date. So thanks, they're X4000 listening in. Let's try over to SWL 113. SWL 114.
114, checking in.
SWL 114. Hello, Wayne. You're sounding great. We've got you checked in.
Also, can you proxy in the dish banks of Biola 58?
I will do that. I did not hear Jeremy in just yet. He is probably busy taking care of business. We will get him checked in from the Biola Kerman ditch banks. Thanks.
Thank you, Dennis.
You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network, where real radios glow in the dark. 27085 is our frequency, and there will be radio check-ins coming up shortly. Let's head over to SWL 128. And that is John Lee out of Fairfax. I see Centerville. So that's the guy listening in. Although, John, I don't see your comments. So the Juliet Lima Foxtrot, I guess, I've got 40 meters up here, but I think with my antenna, that would be a little bit of a jump trying to check in through the sprint contest tonight. So I've got you checked in. And if you're able to jump up on the video, I think I'm seeing comments there unless something changes on the page, but you are checked in. Over to SWL 131. SWL 133.
Hello, Dennis. 133, checking in.
Coming in loud and clear at the control point here tonight. Dave, we've got you checked in. Thanks. SWL 135.
SWL 135 checking in.
135 checking in. I heard your pre-show tonight, I know you've got an interesting radio for us ready to go, and that will happen in just a few moments, so stay tuned. SWL 137, a proxy check-in for AJ. Up to Course Gold, where we find SWL 145.
Well, good evening, Dennis, and all the other patient SWLs. Tony 145 in Course Gold. Just want to remind everybody, turn your clocks back tonight. Don't forget.
That's right. It is the spring forward, fall back. Add an hour to the clocks. I don't think OTR will be running that late tonight, so we shouldn't have any problems, but remember it for the morning. Also, on Halloween evening, before you turn your clock back, so the SWLs, don't forget to listen for those Halloween pirate radio stations, which sometimes frequent the stations. I should tune in, 6920. Maybe we'll do that. I've got the HF radio here, so later on tonight we'll be listening to 6.920, 6.980 AM, sideband, whatever, so we can pick up some of the pirate radio stations tonight. Tony, never a pirate. He might dress like one on Halloween, but he's a good guy. Thanks for checking in.
Hi, Dennis. I got a question for you. California decided to do away with daylight savings time last year, and we're still having to do it. I was kind of curious about that. Do you recall us voting on that last year?
Yeah, I recall the vote. What I recall is that we voted for the option, for the opportunity to do daylight savings time. Now there's another step to that where the state has to go in and say, okay, we're going to do this, or there may be another voting initiative that actually turns on that particular mode of operation. So that was the precursor saying that, yes, we would like to do this, and now it's going to be up to the state to say, okay, we're going to initiate that. So it's in the works, but it doesn't, the thing that was voted on doesn't necessarily start daylight savings time. It just opens up the door so that it could get done, if that makes any sense. Over.
Yeah, appreciate it. Yeah, it was a topic of discussion between me and the wife earlier today, and we were just kind of baffled on it. Just wanted your opinion on it. Thank you.
Yeah, if I recall correctly, it is now something that can be done, but I don't know what mechanisms need to be put into place to make it get done. Again, it may be another voting situation, or it may just be the California legislature has to figure out, bang the gavel and say, yeah, we're going to do this, and put out a bunch of official documents and emails and whatever. So, for this year, we're cool. For next year, I don't know. But set the clocks back, and you'll be good. Over to SWL 147, Neil in Kakalaki. And he was up on the big screen. Let me scroll back and see what he had to say. Checking in, World Radio 559 announced on Friday. Jawjackers checked in that pirate radio number 9 in Riverside has passed away. So those of you who are familiar with, or maybe have chatted with pirate radio number 9 in Riverside, I'm not sure which state of Riverside they're talking about, but he is now what we call a silent key. And he's an occasional guest in the shack when the skip was in. All right, well, I bet if that's the case, he might be on some video gates as well. I'll have to check that out, so thanks for that information. Neil, and we do have you checked in from the Juliet Gulf Quebec mode of operation. Back up we go to Course Gold and looking for, this time, Mr. Starliner. Over.
195 checking in. Dennis, good evening to you.
Hey, good evening. Haven't fallen off the chair yet, so OTR will proceed as normal, whatever that means.
That sounds good.
And thanks for checking in. Station sounding great. over to SWL 226. I'll get a check-in for Jeff. I think he was in on the Friday night sideband Ditch Banks net. And then I will stand by for any other check-ins. I'll be listening and see if you're out there. OTR standing by for SWL check-ins. Also say hello to Gary up there in Sacramento. Saying hello to and happy Halloween to all the old tube radio operators and shortwave listeners tonight. And says he hopes there's some Eye of Newt and bat wings in the green room. There is some bubbling cauldron of something that I could see putting some steam up on the glass here. So that could possibly be it. Maybe some has sort of spilled over into the wires here, and that is why everything is so skewed and spooky in here tonight. Sounding good from Sacramento. One of our SWLs was up there today for a wedding, SWL 7, up in the fine city, Sacramento, but it was sort of a hit and run. He's already back in his air chair here in Fresno tonight, so maybe he can fill us in on what happens up in Sacramento. Any other stations before we head over to the tube radios? All right, just a note that I'm not getting the comments to work on the oldtuberadio.net page. Not sure if anybody else is having the issue. If the comments are working, go ahead and leave a comment. Eventually, I'll be able to see them and do what I need to do. The comments page are working on the video side. So if you click on the YouTube video and get into that, I think the page there is running comments if you'd like to say something. Also, I think you can leave something up on the Facebook, the OTR Facebook page. Bob and Steve did that. It seemed to work just fine. Back in moments on your old Tube Radio Network with the thing that we do best, checking in those tube radios. Back in a moment. Okay, I think it's up and running. Let's give it a try. The old tube radio network. Real radio is glowing in the dark right now.
You may not find us on your TV because in case you did not know, we're being brought to you by
OTR.
Brought to you by
27.085 megahertz.
Brought to you by RADI.
The Old Tube Radio Network.
The Old Tube Radio Network signing in October 31st, 2020 to the Old Tube Radio list here, where we hope to be writing down a myriad of those glow-in-the-dark tube-style radios. The Old Tube Radio Network heard every Saturday from 8 to 10 p.m. thereabouts. Pacific, the last time for the Pacific Daylight Time this year, they're running the clocks back at 2 a.m. Sunday morning for Pacific Standard Time, but until that time, we'll be listening for your radio check-ins here on the Old Tube Radio Network. Hello to all the SWLs listening in. Hello to Germantown, Wisconsin, and Spokane, British Columbia. Lots of stations in California, Colorado, South Carolina, Virginia, and a host of others over at oldtuberadio.net. Listening in, Channel 27 in the RF zone, wherever that might be. And on the YouTube video as well. We'll see if we can't check in as many as we can. I will say that OTR is listening for your radio check-in.
135, 135.
25.
Number 7.
All right, I think I've got a triple. I've got a triple play here. We've got 135. I also got to keep my transmitter keyed up. We've got 135. Step up into the air chair. We'll take you for radio number 1. Hello, Jerry. You'll be radio number 2 out there in Madera Heights, and radio number 3 will be Mr. Ed. You can enjoy whatever is going on in the green room tonight. Just be careful that you don't do too much of it before you have to check in. Heading over to, what is my correct time? 21, okay, let's call it 9:06 Pacific Daylight Time as Mr. Green Arrow steps up into his radio area and takes a transmission on something he's going to tell us about. Over.
Yes, hello, Dennis. This is SWL 135. On an old radio. This is the Hellcrafters Company, model CB1. I guess that means it's the first one from Hellcrafters. It's an old tube radio, and it's got 11 tubes, including the 6E5 Magic Eye tube, which is doing its flappy thing. Spooky green, like a green full moon with problems. Back to you.
It is doing its thing for sure, and has some spooky audio. Let me say hello to Harvey, who's on the crossband. Hello, Harvey. I've got you checked in. We're talking to a spooky radio from Mr. Green Arrow. So I have a feeling you're running to your Radio Shack and will be participating soon, but we will get you checked in as SWL20 KB6GFD. So Harvey is checked in, but let's get back to the spooky radio.
Just north of Shaw.
And I have... Okay, got the... Trying to keep my transmitter going here. Got the picture up, got the transmitter going, and it's looking at me. There's a magic eye staring straight at me. Is that doing the same thing for you?
It is indeed. I lean hard enough on the push-to-talk bar, the spring-loaded push-to-talk bar. That's exactly what it will do. When I'm just receiving, it doesn't do anything else. It goes off. But it's a lot of fun to watch while I'm modulating. That weird little microphone was made for Hellcrafters by Shure Brothers. It's a Shure Charlie Alpha 95 Echo microphone, and I know it's got a weird sound to it, but I think it might actually help here on Halloween. What do you think?
Yeah, it has a very limited frequency response, but it is a frequency response that is very good for piercing audio for your CB radio enjoyment. Looks like it's probably a dynamic or a crystal. It might be an original crystal element in there. Not letting any low frequencies through, but certainly sounding very, very spooky. And we've got a good shot from your collection of the original Howell Crafters microphone. It's actually pretty cool. It's very mid-century modern to go with their radio that looks like it was put in one of their speaker cabinets. And I don't even see a channel selector. That is the most simple radio you could have. I see an on-off switch and a push-to-talk bar. I don't even know if there's a squelch control. So this looks great. So obviously their first, giving it the CB1, their first radio that they came up with when 11 meters went to Class D. And it's in Sam's CB1, so it is a good deal. It's sounding great. I hope you watched the replay or listened to the replay for the audio. You sound like you're about 40 over. You are not quite that strong on the signal, but the audio is something interesting and certainly apropos for the evening. Over.
Oh yeah, and I forgot to mention. There is one push-to-talk bar. Which I do with my right hand, and I hold the microphone with my left hand. So it takes both hands to operate this thing. And that is an on-off volume knob. That's all it does, on-off and volume. It does, believe it or not, have a squelch control in the back. If you take a flathead screwdriver, you can adjust the squelch. I always leave it all the way open. But, they went ahead and included a squelch control, I guess, just in case somebody wanted it. But just made it, difficult to use. I say it's all the way in the back of the radio. And this is a one-channel only radio, one channel at a time. If you want to change channels, you got to crack this thing open, slide it out of the case, and change the crystals. Separate transmit and receive crystals for your one and only channel.
So choose wisely for your channel selection. I see that it says 115 volt AC. I see there on the picture there's a power supply, DC power supply in the back, but I think that's on the shelf behind it. So the radio is bass only, I think. See, because that was weird. Back then, typically they had bass mobiles because you were talking to, bass to unit 1. So I wonder... Howell Crafters are probably busy working on their Little Phone series. I would love to talk to somebody who was around at that time to find out if Howell Crafters, who was making amateur radios and televisions and shortwave receivers, if they thought, we have got to jump into the 11-meter market and just threw something together. It's like, we've got these speaker cabinets, and we've got magic eye from this thing, and let's get a transmitter and stick it in there, and it doesn't have to be perfect. We just have to get on the boat. We just have to get in the mix for the Class D service. 11 tubes, believe it or not. Part of that is because they got a 5-wide 3 GT. They've got a rectifier tube in there, which most radios probably didn't have. And then they've got the I tube, which I think is a 6E5, so... that actually adds a couple of extra tubes. Does that radio run pretty hot when you're letting it sit there?
No, negative. It actually runs nice and cool.
All right. That is a good thing. Our radio number 1, getting things started off, the Howell Crafters CB1. Not sure. I don't have a price for this, but I'm thinking that it might have been... at $100, a little less than $100, a little more than $100. It's hard to say. We'll do some research on this. And the speaker, where the magic eye is, that grill, I can't really tell from the picture, but there's got to be a speaker in either the right side or the left side there.
The speaker is to the right of the Magic Eye, just a bit. It's a pretty good-sized speaker. But yeah, like you mentioned, it's originally this whole thing was a speaker box for a single speaker for their larger shortwave receivers.
And Holocrafters was known. They had great transmitters. They had really good receivers. So I'm not sure what they did for this one. And maybe it has the don't tweak it for the 10 meter option, but we had to crank it down to 5 watt DC input. Sounding good. Our radio one, I've got an old Holocrafters catalog from 1969, and it definitely doesn't have that radio in there at all. But glad that they started with this one. Holocrafters actually kept going into the solid state mode when they were pretty much out of business in the early 1970s. It's called the CB1. The radio that you're seeing, if you're looking at the picture at oldtuberadio.net or watching the video, is indeed the radio on which Cliff is talking. And methinks that if you ever had to replace that microphone, the original Holocrafters microphone, that was probably the only thing it was ever used for, and you may have the only one in existence. Back to you.
Yeah, you don't see him around too much, but hey, thanks for letting me check it in. It is the spookiest radio that I've got over here. It's spooky radio for Halloween. There's the appropriate time. It's Halloween. We have a full moon, and now we have a spooky Magic Eye radio. We'll catch you next time. See ya.
All right, very good. And one of our listeners, Jimmy, says the Holocrafters factory still survives in Chicago, which is where they were. I think they were there for a long, long time when they were actually, William Halligan and the gang. And then they became a subsidiary of the Northrop Aircraft Corporation, which is where I was introduced to them because my dad worked for Northrop and used to get an employee discount. Back in the late 1960s, we got an employee discount on Holocrafters because it was part of Northrop Aircraft. And then I'm not sure what happened to them after that. But for those wanting to take a trip, the H symbol is still on the building out there in Chicago. Sounding good on the old Tube Radio Network.
Contact.
And as SWL25, as Jerry steps up into the air chair at 9:16 Pacific Daylight Time, and that's coming short. Let's take the contact for the SWL check-in. The contact, go ahead.
Hey, Dennis, 70, late check-in, please.
Not a problem. We are having spooky things happening here, as always, on the Old Tube Radio Network, and we do have you checked in.
Thanks, man. Happy Halloween.
Back to the Tube radio list, where Mr. Sidekick has jumped up into the air chair. Hello, radio.
Well, ground control to Major Tom. This is 25. Checking in, trying to check in on a general radio No, that's wrong. That's wrong. This is a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. Talking on the non-powered D104. No, that's wrong too. Talking on the Banana mic, non-powered. So, man, I'm all messed up tonight. But it must be Halloween. Anyway, it is a Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB two-piece radio, and you're sounding good, Dennis. Talking on, like I said, the Banana mic with the bass. And I believe the Banana mic is non-powered. I know it's not non-powered, but it was made by an Electro Voice. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
You got it correct. I've got the picture, and it doesn't look like a Holocrafters. The microphone is not correct, but I probably got a picture of one with the Banana mic. Boy, sounding super loud. Almost like you put that thing into the sports car and drove up to Costco on Blackstone Avenue and hooked it up. It's sounding great as always. doing a good job. As I mentioned before, I've had the pleasure of driving that radio for not only just to have fun, but to do a net control, to do the old Tube Radio Network many moons ago, back from that location. That was probably the most awesome I have ever sounded as net control. Back to you.
Well, I doubt that, Dennis, but that one of these days we'll have to have another net control out here. Have you come out here? So anyway, yeah, that's about it. I mean, it's two-piece radio, the red light on here, 23-channel VFO. Boy, everything is working. So, and by the way, I think there was about 4 or 5 other stations that doubled that want to check in. So I'll just be quiet and anyway, back to you, Dennis. And happy Halloween, everyone.
All right, I'll keep it moving. We've got one more stations to check in as radio number 3, and we'll get Mr. Ed next here at 9:20 Pacific Daylight Time. I'm off of the lines here. And then I will stop Quick King, and we'll get to all the other stations that would like to get on the list to check in. We will check in as many as possible. One thing I forgot to do, and let me do that now, is I am wearing the pocket protector here on the old Tube Radio suit. Tonight we are sponsored by, the pen that goes in is Whirlpool. It just says Whirlpool RCA. You see that? RCA and Whirlpool. That's all it says. It's a really sleek, nice-looking pen. All these old pens are really nice. I'm so used to seeing these plastic big things that come from China now. This is just, it could be stainless steel. It's got something written in on the little pocket deal, but it's just a nice pen. I'm going to insert it into the pocket protector to add to some of the nerd quotient, but thanks to Whirlpool and RCA tonight on the old Tube Radio Network. Ed is stepping up into the air chair. Before we check with Ed, are there other stations that would like to check in, and I'll get you on the list over? All right, we'll get to you, so don't go away. Hello, Mr. Ed, over.
Well, let's see if I can get this thing to quit making noise. I think it's kind of working. Anyway, the Frankenstein radio for Halloween, the Robin T123, making all kinds of weird noises with a winking and blinking eye.
Making kind of spooky, crackly noises, which is okay for a Halloween evening. The T123, yet another Magic Eye radio, which is, they all come out to play typically here on Halloween. It is behaving. You can hear when it's crackling, so that's good. And boy, everybody's really loud on the receive. I may have to turn my incoming down just a notch or two. You guys are pigging my Orban meter out here tonight. Over to you for transmission. Let's see how it's behaving and make that Magic Eye wink and blink.
Okay, it's not winking and blink. Yeah, it's not going too bad that time. Yeah, it'll slam shut when it starts making noise. But yeah, it is still working, so I will keep checking it in until it does something really drastic.
It doesn't seem to be cutting out the audio. It's just the crackling is adding to the audio. The radio is keying just fine, and so no problem there. The Robin T123, the I guess pre-1972 offering from Robin that will go 12-volt DC, 115-volt AC with 11 tubes, 2 transistors thrown in probably for some type of DC power conversion. Way up into Sam's PhotoFax 35, but it is there. Give us another transmission. Sounding good.
Oop, well, yeah, it's still doing weird things. Well, thank you. Anyway, I will try to get another radio on. And for Chrissy, it's a green radio.
It is green. The Magic Eyes are green. So it's going to be a spooky, greeny type of radio tonight. Thanks for Radio 3. And Jimmy, the Robert DeMarco, I think I've seen some of that equipment. Some of it's posted on on Facebook, and probably you do a search. I want to say he might even be a ham radio operator as well. So that could be nice. I've only got maybe 3 or 4 pieces of Hallicrafter stuff. I've got the HT-37. I'm toying with the idea of making space for that in the back because it weighs 80 pounds, and it will kind of float around on this frequency. So maybe that could be a net control thing. I've got a Dow key relay for that, so I might be able to sneak it in as the transmitter side. I don't know. That could be interesting. Then I could actually be checking myself in as I did ever so long ago. Thanks for Mr. Ed, radio number 3. The Jingle Singers are here, and they would like to do what they do best, letting you know of the magical place to be on Saturday night.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you. Wherever you are, for music and the latest news from home and from afar, the station for you is
OTR, Old Tube Radio.
The station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network, oldtuberadio.com and .net, and right here on 27085. We were standing by looking for radio number 4.
Break OTR.
45.
All right, 45. You'll be radio number 4. Step up into the air chair, but don't take a transmission just yet. We'll be right back to you. I want to pick up our SWL check-in as I head over to the shortwave listener page just for kicks. Go ahead, 56.
Well, thank you, Dennis. I need a late chicken. Time just got away from me today.
It is that kind of day. I even started late because of some various goblins around the shack here, so I was hoping that, people didn't think nothing was happening and walked away. But we are here, as always, on Saturday evening, on the sort of spooky Saturday evening, and you are sounding good in the neighborhood, and we've got you checked in tonight. Thanks for remembering the Saturday night place to be.
Well, thank you, Dennis.
So 56 is check-in. Back over to the Tube radio list, radio number 4. Fired up and ready to go here at, we'll log it in at 9:25 Pacific Daylight Time. Paul, Mr. Falcon, up in the hills to the north and east of my location. Can you hear me? Over.
Nice to hear a 56 in there. Anyway, I'd like to check in my Utica model MC-27 Allen Country.
Okay, that is a mouthful. Let's see if I can even find something like that in the Rolodex archives. Let's see, UCTNC MC20. Let's see. It says it's from Paul, SWL 45. Very interesting looking. And here's another one with one of those kind of old style cream-colored original microphoniums, at least in the picture. Not sure what you're using. Back to you.
Yeah, 56 had a real nice, a pretty one than this one. The same thing, it's a parent country, and it's what they call a custom on the thing. And manufactured by Utica. It made 3 radios different years. This is the basic spirit, very not doesn't have much on it. So the volume, 12, 6 tunes, and right on the top. Got 6 crystals on the thing. That's about it, radio back to you.
It's almost like a real fancy Hallicrafter CB1. Give you a few extra channels and a knob. Sounds good. Almost sounds like it's running controlled carrier, where if you aren't modulating, there's not much RF coming out of the back of the radio, and then when you talk, it kicks up in there. So I don't know if that's the way they made him with the suppressed carrier, or if that's something else going on. So you'll hear what I'm talking about if you watch the archives back. The Town and Country. Let's see, A, B, C, D, E. What letter? What letter is channel 11 on? Over. I just wonder on your channel selector, what letter is selected to get channel 11 tonight?
Channel selector, there's 6 channels. FEBCBA on the bottom.
and that's nice. And that's it.
Well, it's doing a good job. Probably we're on letter C. That's the one that's showing for channel 11. The town and country, let's see what I've got on the Rolodex, if there's any other information. Oh, 1960 to 1966. This might be one somewhere in the middle of that run. Original price was around $189 or so. We'll go 115-volt AC, also 6-volt DC and 12-volt DC with the 6 crystal-controlled channels, both transmit and receive. No VFO on that. Radio number 4, the Utica. The town and country, MC27. Not to be confused with, there was a real early radio called the town and country that I'm not exactly sure was made by Utica, but some people say that was the first CB radio that got the FCC type acceptance, but it was not, I don't believe, from Utica, but this is their town and country model. Give us another transmission. It sounds good for Radio 4, and always a pleasure to hear some of those radios that are quite rare.
Wait, put out a watt and a half, I think, on the thing. I had a hard time getting in. At first I tried to get in while I was up service. Over the hill. Next to check hill, by the way, I'm using an M2 uniform.
Yeah, it sounds like it's a suppressed carrier or a controlled carrier on the audio, but it's very loud. The Old Tube Radio Network. Also tonight, I have to write down those frequencies. We're going to see if we couldn't tune in some of the pirate radio frequencies that are supposed to be happening tonight. Sort of an annual Halloween thing that they get on and do spooky stuff. I'll write them down at. I see 6920 and 6980, somewhere in there. That's sort of the standard frequencies for pirate radios. We've got the HF radio in line tonight. We're looking for Radio 5. Looking for Radio 5, by the way. Let me bring up, if I can keep the radio key, let me bring up the HF receiver here tonight. Because the sprint contest is on. We're going to run down. There's all the FT8 crew. And a lot of times they're on lower sideband. They're 6980. There's a strange thing at 6943. Some type of a data transmission. Don't hear any carriers at 6920. Let's change the sideband here. You know, pirates don't follow the band plan. A lot of noise. There's the data stream again. There's a carrot at 6944. Something strange going on there. 6980. All right, well, nothing so far. Let's get back up in the 40-meter section, and then we'll see if we've got some radios here on the Old Tube Radio Network tonight. Standing by.
Number 7.
Hello, number 7. Had to get the other audio turned down there. I think you are going to be our radio number 5. Over.
Well, I could be. It's big. It's green. It's a TR27E from Tram. 23-channel transmit and receive. Big ol' S meter and a 5x7 speaker.
And I don't know, it's not very spooky. We know what's spooky is that switch. You know, you probably waited years before you turned that switch because you didn't know what was going to happen. Let me find, I know you're in the Rolodex here under the 27 Charlie. Wait a minute, image not available. Hold on. Let me try this again. TR27E. All right, I hit the wrong one. And let's go to that. And there's a red button and a red switch. So don't flip the red switch.
No, don't flip the red switch, especially if you're on channel 1, because you'll end up completely out of band down below channel 1. I don't know why they were down there, but for some reason they were transmitting down there.
And I suppose you've told me this radio is big. It's chock full of tubes. It's at least got 11 or 12, I think.
Yeah, I believe it's 11 tubes. There was even an ad with it on it, but I'm kind of rum-dum from being on the road all day.
That's right. We have Gary listens in from Sacramento. How were things up in? I know you did sort of a hit and run and in and out. How were things up in Sacramento? Let's see, Saturday, right? So the traffic might actually be doable. It's not like, the Monday through Friday stuff. So hopefully you got in and got out. And there's always that one little spot in Sacramento when you're coming on 99 when all of a sudden it's like going to LA. You get to make all the choices. Am I going to Reno? Am I going to San Francisco? Am I going to Old Town? Do I want 50? Do I want 80? Do I want 99? So you got to know where you're going.
Oh, there you go. Yeah, off of Howe and Fair Oaks. So, yeah, just had to catch the 50 over to the 99 and down the 99. Now, going up was no problem. Coming back was a traffic nightmare for quite a while, and then there was a big pileup. Luckily, it was on the northbound when I was going southbound, but it tied up traffic to the point where it was basically blocked until you, or just, bumper to bumper for miles until you got up to the wreck, and then it was clear sailing after that.
Oh, wow. All right. I know there's some of the parts along 99 that they're the kind of the narrow, older two-lane, and then when you start getting to Modesto, and when they are branching out to go to San Francisco, they give you extra lanes and things like that. My favorite landmark is no longer there, which was south of Lodi, I think, and south of Stockton. It's Pollardville, the big oil derrick with the giant chicken. When I go to Sacramento, that was like, you know you're getting close when you see the giant chicken at Pollardville, but it's no longer there. Let's talk about the giant radio, the green TR27E from Tram, 1963 vintage stuff, and sounding quite nice. Back to you for transmission.
Thank you much. Oh, yes, and running the Electro Voice 638 microphone and there you go.
A perfect match, probably a high-Z microphone. I heard you mention to Cliff that might not be a bad addition to the Helicopter CB1, although I think that's a hardwired microphone, so it may be a little hard. You almost don't even want to start messing with the wires on something that's 60-plus years old, but that one matches well with the Tram. The big green machine on Halloween, sounding good for Radio 5. Back to you for a transmission, and thanks for bringing it by.
Thank you. Yes, it is a high-Z microphone. The Collins and Drake guys seem to like it.
It's even listed on, I've subscribed to the Collins Collectors Association magazine now, as I am sort of trying to snag myself into some Collins radio, and that is in one of their little favorite spots to be. So yeah, you've got to have the right microphonium for the right radio, and you've got them both. And see the S meter. I was watching the video. The S meter is crooked. It's not even in the right range. It doesn't go to. I don't know what happened. somebody must have come in. Maybe the cleaning crew finally came into the shack here and just kind of destroyed where the camera was positioned. I'll have to work on that. I apologize. And Chrissy says, "Is there a picture of the microphone?" Yeah, I had one in my stock photos. And believe it or not, when I went to look for it, it was gone. But that doesn't mean that by some type of trickery, I can't bring one up here because it is worth displaying. I probably don't have the best picture, but I will find one. And there is 45. Let me go to the picture of the microphonium. There it is. That's the head. That's the bifurcated head on the Electro Voice. So it's, I mean, in the large, as we're showing picture here, that's almost spooky. That's almost like an alien thing for Halloween. But it has a very, very heavy-duty neck and base. I believe there's a push-to-talk switch or an on-off switch somewhere on the neck. And that is the infamous EV638 bifurcated head microphonium that probably weighs multiple pounds and is a good match for your tube radio. Breaking station. I think that was Paul up in North Fork. Hello, radio. Over. We'll get you on that. The Super MC8 will make it into the shack, at least into the old tube radio tonight. There is a little bit of a hum coming in with the audio, so could be the power supply capacitors have seen better days. I have a picture. I believe it is from your collection. Let me put it in the mix here. Yeah, the MC8 out in the flora and fauna. Back to you for a transmission. Over. I was looking to see if I have a tube complement for that radio. You know, I do. That only has 9 tubes. We've been getting all these 11 and 12 tube radios. That has 9 tubes. I'm just wondering what they don't need to make it sound good. You are correct. The 6 output modulators, 6AL11 is what they used on that. In fact, it's all 6-volt tubes. It looks like. 12-volt DC, 115-volt AC, 9-tube CB transceiver, 24 channels with the Civil Air Patrol. I believe there's a spot when you click the dial around that goes to either blank or it goes to, let's say, Civil Air Patrol, and that frequency is 26,620 megacycles. Somebody mentioned one time, one of our very astute SWLs, that was the reverse of channel 13 on a 455. So if you added a 455 to that, what would you get? You'd get 27,115. So that is the reverse of channel 13 on a 455 offset. Back to you. Over. Yeah, something going on with the noise level tonight. No, that radio's putting out a big signal. The audio isn't quite up to the S9 signal, but it is there. The General Radio Telephone Super MC8, the first of their, what they called the Super series. And they went up until, the Super MC12. And they just kept getting better and better. Thanks for bringing by Radio 6 tonight, and sorry about the noise level. I hope it'll be better next week.
Yeah, it's pretty bad. It just came in recently, that's the problem. That's as far as pretty neat, pretty clear. But when it come in, I don't know what's going on. It's not nice. Anyway, thanks a lot, man, Dennis. 25.
And that radio, as most of the general radio telephones, they really kept their price point very affordable. Maybe that's why they just kind of hung on just barely for as long as they did. $199.50 when everybody else was going up into the $250 and $300 range. Good old general radio telephone would keep you under $200 back in 1965, 1966. Sounding good. Thanks for bringing it by. There is a breaking station. I think that was 25 over.
Roger. Real quickly, I'll follow up. By the way, Paul up there in the hill, say hello to Kelly for me. It sounded good. And anyway, checking in on the General Radio Telephone MC5 from downtown beautiful Burbank, California.
Wow, you fooled me. I thought you were on the sonar. Did you drop that thing? Did you drop that radio on the floor? It is sounding really good. Over.
Well, I just banged it, slapped it around a little bit, but I'm glad to know it's working, Dennis.
Yeah, remember we would always talk about the audio quality or the strange audio. It is super loud tonight. Over.
All right, well, I could turn it down a little bit, but I think last time I checked it in, you told me to turn this thing up, and I am using a Turner Plus 3B mic on it, so amplified, so maybe I just got it up a little high. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
No, you've got it perfect. It's loud. I don't hear any flat topping. Of course, I'm not running through a scope to see what's going on, but to my headphoniumed ears, I am not hearing any flat topping or anything like that. It's just loud. It doesn't have sometimes it would have that sort of fuzzy effect to it. It does not have that. It is doing everything that the kids over at beautiful downtown Burbank back in the day of General Radio Telephone would want it to do.
Okay, so I have your blessings to install it as a mobile in an Oldsmobile 442 or a Buick Riviera or a Ford Fairlane. I would never own a Ford Fairlane. But anyway, you know where I'm going with that. But as a mobile, and might be interesting. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
It would, and it will go mobile, and you have probably, even though you may not own one, you've probably ridden in a Ford Fairlane, but are not wanting to admit it. This radio has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This only has 7 tubes. I don't know how General Radio Telephone did it. It's like they just took the tubes out until it stopped working and then put the last tube back in, like Madman Munch used to do with his televisions. And they're all 6-volt tubes. There's a schematic at oldtuberadio.com. Doesn't have the 6AL11 or any of the fancy output modulator tubes, but boy, does it sound good. And it will run 6-volt, 12-volt, 115-volt AC. So if you can't fit it into the Ford Fairlane, which they probably didn't make any 6-volt Ford Fairlanes, you could go to, the Ford Sunliner. The hardtop converter. I bet some of those early late 50s cars were probably on 6-volt systems. The NC5 was probably the most advertised General Radio Telephone CB, much like the MC4, but it had a stronger transmitter, and it was the last General, as we know, with the Q-Bird, the tone signal, whatever you want to call it. The FCC nixed it in 1963 and said, we really don't want manufacturers installing the tone calls and the noisemakers in the radio. We want them to be a separate thing. So away it went. But to thumb our noses at the FCC, we're actually going to ask Jerry to turn on his tone signal just because he can.
Okay, Dennis, I'm going to do this, but the only thing I can think this is put in the radio for was just a jam, and I'm not a jammer, but by the way, this one does have the external crystal jacket right above what I'm about to put on. So a spring-loaded switch, and here we go. Anyway, back to you, Dennis.
Okay, I know you dropped that radio now, because remember last week, or was it 2 weeks ago, you put on the Q-Bird and it sounded weird. It was having a bad day. This one sounds exactly like it should. This is the audio that will be in the margins of the dictionary when it says, what the heck is a Q-Bird? And you'll put on the headphones and play the special little audio. Sounds good. Thanks for bringing it by. Radio number 7 from General Radio Telephone. One of their most popular and best-selling radios of the day, the MC5. Over.
Hey, thank you, Dennis. And the only thing I can think of is the radio. This must be inspired by the full moon tonight. Anyway, thanks for checking it in. Back to you.
Is it a full moon? I remember last night. Was it last night or Friday? I thought that was the full moon. And, okay, Chrissy's confirming it is the full moon. That explains everything. That explains why the S meter is off and tilted, and why this piece of equipment here that you can't see, but I actually had to take it out of line. I went to fire everything up, and my Orban piece here that I really, really love conked out, and it's in the chain, so I had to recalibrate everything. And the pens don't work, and I don't know. So that's what it is. It's the doggone full moon. So I will stop blaming myself and the jingle singers and bozo control. The Old Tube Radio Night. Speaking of the jingle singers, they are here somewhere. Where are those pesky jingle singers? Yes, here we go. The Old Tube Radio Network.
How do you do? Ladies and gentlemen, greetings to you, wherever you are. The friendliest station for you by far is known to all as
OTR, the Old Tube Radio Network.
The station for you is
OTR.
The Old Tube Radio Network, 27085 here in Central California, oldtuberadio.net. The YouTube video, and I apologize once again for the comments not working tonight, because that's part of the thing here tonight is reading and listening and responding to your comments that are always spot on with giving us history and information about the radios. We're listening and looking for radio number 8. Well, let's see. Should we try? Get the radio to key. Should we try? I tried to fix that foot switch. It is just, there's a spring in there. If I could collapse that spring a little bit, might be able to do that. But I think I'm going to go back. I really do. I'm going to go back to the J38 key. I found one. In fact, hold on a second. I was going through stuff, and I found, I must have bought this somewhere, because I had my original J38 key, which is on the desk, but this is much better. This is my J38 key that I got, and this is I'm going to wire this up back like I used to have it, with a push-to-talk or a switch that will run it into the key circuit of the radio, or a push-to-talk. And it's got the lock-to-talk bar, and the foot switch is nice, but it is creating havoc. You know what I'm going to do? Let me clear the radios. First, let me see if there's any stations I want to check in. And then, okay. If I can keep the radio keyed, let's go to the HF. Let's go to the HF again. It is the CW Sprint Contest. First, let me check to see if there are any AM stations on tonight on 75 meters. Let's see if we got any. Not hearing anything. I hear a carrier, but it's very low. Even the sprints, I think the band has gone out. Let's go back down to the pirate frequencies. 6980, not much. 6920, nothing in between. They're usually on upper or lower sideband. And tune through. There was something strange going on at 6940. There it is, that data stream. So that's the strangest little beaconing thing tonight. But, and a carrier at 6945, but not hearing any pirate stations. The Old Tube Radio Network standing by, looking for radio number 8.
Break OTR.
And hello, Break OTR. I missed Jimmy's comment about the guy in Chicago on a Town and Country 3 running a Demco modulator. Interesting. The Demco modulator. Once people found out or figured out that it wasn't just for Demcos and you could run it, put those 2 tubes of compressed loud audio with your favorite microphone into your favorite radio, there was a lot of good stuff going on. We've got a station. Hello, station. Welcome to the Old Tube Radio Network. And you will be number 8, I think. Over.
Awesome. Well, that's nice to hear. And for radio number 8, I'm going to do something with a magic eye tube since it's Halloween. I was going to use this out on the radio patio, but it got kind of cold out there. But this is my Robin T123. Again, with the, I think it's a 6 RE13, I think it is, magic eye tube. That is definitely quite active right now. I'd like this radio because you don't have to scream into it in order for it to put audio out, and you definitely don't have to scream into it if you want the magic eye tube to be winking and blinking at you. It's doing a pretty gosh darn good job of right now.
Because you have very good audio into the radio, the 6RE13, where we're looking into the side of the tube as the vertical or the 2 elements run, vertically, horizontally, whatever you want to call it, to show a maximum audio flavor. The 6E5 was the cylindrical, looks more like the old Pac-Man thing, and there are various other flavors of the modulation tube, but this is probably maybe the second most popular. I think the circular one is the most popular, but it's very clever how they did this. That's actually the tube standing up right in front of the cabinet, and then they cut a hole out in the bezel so you can look right at the tube and watch it do its thing. Over.
Yeah, this, I think this must have been the most popular kind of magic eye tube. I think, before I even purchased this radio, I think back then that really the only kind of magic eye tube I was even aware of was this kind. And then, of course, you have the Pac-Man style, the 6ME5, like my Gonze G11 has. Well, there's a whole bunch of them around. I think one of the most fascinating magic eye tubes I'd ever seen was, I think it was something that kind of looked like like peacock feathers. If you can imagine them kind of fanning out, from, to the left and the right. It's pretty spectacular. It's been at least 10 years since I've seen one of those. Although I'm sure if you went on YouTube, you could probably see them. But No, this one is exactly like I said. It's vertically mounted. I don't know what color this is. I think it's a green radio, but I don't know what kind of light the Mad Sky tube is putting off. But it's extremely enchanting for sure.
It will keep you mesmerized. Maybe it hypnotizes you. Don't stare in it for too long, because it may have some adverse effect. I was looking, I don't have good resolution on my picture for the various knobs. Is this the one that has, or is that the B, the 123B that has the standby? I guess, I don't know if it's called standby, but it has a standby function where it will keep the filaments warm, but you can squelch the radio.
You know, that's a really good question, and I don't know. I know I wanted to make a comment on this quite some time ago. I believe it's the 123B as in Bravo that's got that standby feature, but to be really honest with you, there's some sort of a flavor of that in this radio. Now, in order for it to be on, yes, you do actually have to turn on by doing the volume knob, but you can turn the squelch. I guess it's counterclockwise? Let's see here. Yeah, if you take the squelch knob on this guy and turn it all the way counterclockwise, it shuts something off. I don't know. There's still power going to the S meter, but the power gets turned off to the Mad Sky tube. I don't even know if maybe you can make a comment on this. I'm sure you're aware of that.
Well, I'm thinking if it's a squelch knob and you turn it far enough, your radio will be squelched.
Well, I think there's a little bit more to it than that, because it does click. I'm going to look and see if any of the tubes turn off. I don't know. I don't know if I want to be mumbling about this rather bizarre feature. I don't know how many other radios, if you turn the squelch counterclockwise all the way, it's going to click, and I don't know. I just kind of assume that on most radios, if you turn it counterclockwise, it's just going to kind of peg itself out.
Well, unless that's the actual volume switch on the Johnson Viking Messenger, the white face. That's one of the issues with that radio, is the volume, or the on-off switch, I believe, is on the squelch. So you turn it on, and then you think that's the volume control, and it's not. So you crank it up, and you end up squelching the radio, and you fooled yourself thinking the radio does not work. I don't think they've done that with that. Your on-off controls is somewhere else. So yeah, it's possible maybe that it's some type of a standby, but you would notice that it looks like the tubes would still be on. I mean, there would still be voltage to the tube. That's the whole thing about standby. It keeps everything warm and ready to go, but just like my foot switch not working. Hard to say. We'll have to talk to somebody who's an expert, or maybe look in. I'm trying to see if it says what SAM's it's in. SAM CB35, page 95. We'll have to read up on that.
Well, that wasn't me. Yeah, something's going on, and I'm sorry. I'm just kind of at a loss for words to describe this. But yeah, this one, the 123 again that I'm on, no Bravo. You're going to turn the radio on and off by using the volume knob. And on the squelch, I was just kind of messing around with it a little bit, and it seems exactly like that 123B. No, because that's even when the radio is turned off with the volume knob, there's still the tubes are still glowing. I don't know. The only thing I can say is I'm going to count to 10. I'm going to turn the sucker all the way off with the squelch, and I don't know. You could probably make a comment and see what's going to happen. I'm sure it's going to sound like me essentially just turning the radio on and off. But 1, 2, 3. 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. So whatever the heck just happened, I turned the squelch all the way counterclockwise. It clicked. The S meter on this radio was still illuminated, as was the channel selector. but no magic eye tube.
And yes, your signal faded away, and then you came back with 17, 18, 19. So stand by. I think there's a comment. It's hard to... There's something with the squeal on the audio, but I think you said comment. The station, before you make your comment, make a short transmission to see if we can understand your audio. Over.
I'm feeding back, right?
You are feeding back, and the audio is distorted. Over.
How's that? Is that better?
The audio is still distorted.
Well, how about that?
Better. Getting better.
Yeah. Well, it's the whole antenna setup. You have to set the standby on the squelch. Turns off the high voltage to the tube, just like on the 123B.
Hey, well, there you go. Ask and ye shall receive. Thank you, Harvey. And Mike was smart enough to actually sort of prove that to us live here on the Old Tube Radio Network, as the radio magically shut off when he rotated the knob. Hello, Mike.
So, I'm just curious. I'd be interested in finding out. I mean, can I confirm that? Because I could not hear SWL20 that well. So, did he kind of say that this is kind of a form of an instant on?
It is exactly what they have on the 123B, which is the cutting the high voltage to the tube so it can be in the standby mode. And so it basically shuts shuts things down, but you are still ready to go, as you proved in an instant by turning it back on.
Okay, well that's interesting. I would be curious to find out what the difference is in power consumption with both radios when they're in standby mode, because like I said, the 123 that I'm on right now, the S meter and the channel selector are still illuminated. I realize, those are just two small little, I guess, incandescent bulbs on there. But well, that's interesting. Now I can leave them both on all the time in the wintertime and heat the home. This is good.
Yeah, I believe his keyword was high voltage. So it's cutting the high voltage, whatever the high voltage would be, if it's hundreds of volts or whatever, away from the component parts. So it probably would help maybe generate a little bit less heat, but it'd keep you on the ready. So probably a good thing to do. If you're warming the radio up on a Saturday afternoon late, you could do it that way and rotate the knob so that it's warmed up, but not taking too much power, or if somebody drops the marshmallows in there, won't blow up too much. Let me take a moment to say hello to Brown Dog Audio 57. Yes, indeed, coming in late, but I will get you checked in out there in central Kentucky, as he was doing the Car Club Halloween Bash. That's the new thing. The drive-in. We had the drive-in fair here in Fresno, so got a drive-in everything. Maybe we'll have the drive-in OTR. It's sounding good, so yeah, think of that when you're warming the radio up on a Saturday afternoon. Just rotate that knob over.
Okay, well, thanks again for letting me check it in. Everyone sounds great tonight. It's kind of nice to leave this thing on, for 2 hours. So, great way to spend a Saturday night. Certainly sorry to hear about Sir Sean Connery today, passing away at, I think, 90 years old. So there it is. All the best to his family.
Okay, I hadn't heard that. I haven't been keeping up. Well, I don't even have a working television, but sometimes you check in on other social media devices and you see these these news bits. So I will check in that bit of information. Gosh, I can't believe it's already like 10:08. We're going to gain an hour. We're going to gain that hour back at 2 o'clock or 1 o'clock, whenever you have to do it. I remember at the TV station they used to make an extra log So when you had that overnight shift, which I had occasionally, you'd think, oh, good, it's 3 o'clock or it's 2 o'clock, and then it's like, no, it's 1 o'clock again. You'd have to go to the other log and work another hour, and then it would be 2 o'clock again. But we don't do that here at OTR. We're out of the curve. Thanks for radio number 8, the Robin T123. Very spooky and very mysterious, and that we solved at least one mystery with that knob. Over.
There it is. I got a question to pose to you guys, but I'll wait until after the show. Thanks.
All right, I'm going to... Jingle Singers are going to do their thing, and then I'm going to see if there's any other final check-ins. Maybe we'll check into the HF radio here quickly before we sign out. And it looks like there is still plenty of cauldron brewing and candy over into the green room, so I might head over down there. You are listening to the Old Tube Radio Network.
You're tuned to
OTR. Channel 11.
Right here in
Fresno, California.
Stay with us.
Old Tube Radio.
Fancy modern.
And still listening and waiting for radio number 9 or any SWL check-ins. This is the Old Tube Radio Network. All right, let me take one last jaunt here on the HF side. See if we can pick up some pirate radio here below 40 meters. Running the vertical antenna tonight on the HF side. There's the mystery data stream. And nothing, the FCC is actually cracking down on pirate radio stations. They really, the new FCC of the last couple of years has been actively searching out, finding, and fining the pirate radio stations. And I'm not exactly sure why they're sort of spending their time doing that, because typically they're off, on these kind of clandestine frequencies. Now, if you're rummaging around in the FM broadcast band and out of, above 108 or below 88 or just somewhere, then yeah, you're going to get in trouble. But I don't know. Let's see if there's any stations sprinting tonight. See, even 40 meters has just gotten pretty silent tonight. So it's that sugar thing. It's all that sugar is making everybody sleepy. OTR, we're going to be doing some counting and amounting and back in moments.
But can I check in?
You can check in because I still have the receiver and the transmitter up and running over when it's up and running.
Okay. I don't know if it's going to feed back or not. Oh. Okay. This is the Buddy Bait, number 459. This is the burglary radio. Interesting. I finished work, got in the car, it was just before 8, turned on the show on my phone with my Bluetooth earpiece in, and headed down the freeway from the Modesto. And you started the show, and when you called my number, I expected you to proxy me in. You didn't. I keyed up and checked myself in. And then I said, I changed the audio tube in the radio. How do I sound? Well, that's when I realized I'd been listening to last week's show.
That's hilarious. It's a Halloween mystery. You're talking to yourself. Oh, you were live and you were Memorex all at the same time.
Oh yeah. And being that it's Halloween, that was real spooky. I'm like barely listening to the show because I got to keep my eyes on the road and ears too, I guess. And all of a sudden, I'm talking on the radio. So there you go. Okay, the Buddy Bass, a radio that I had wanted for I don't know how long. Finally got one. This isn't the one you usually hear me on. The one at the old place, I finally took about half that room apart, and it's in storage. I'll get it over here one of these days. Got one more radio, and that'll be it for me.
Okay, I'm working on the list. So did you ever punch the live source, or did you just go ahead and relive OTR of last week?
Oh, as soon as I realized that, I closed that on the phone and reopened and went to the website, and you were just about to start the real show.
Indeed, and I'm trying to think, what did I do? I did check you in because I figured you were listening in somewhere. I never know how it shows up, when you do a mobile thing like that. It could show up as an unknown SWL, as we call them, or something like that. But thanks for listening in, and hopefully you were safe. No hands on the device as you were driving. So okay, we've got you checked in on. Oh, no, we don't. What are you on right now? I didn't write it down.
I was on the Buddy Bass.
Okay, for some reason I was blabbing away and didn't write that down. So Radio 9 is the Buddy Bass, and what do we call that? How do we designate that? That's the Marina Communications?
Yeah, that's the Marina Communications one. Serial number 459. It's my burglary radio. And it's the one with the big, huge speaker that you see in the picture.
Okay, that's the picture that I still have up because I'm behind here. And there are tubes in the transmitter. There are tubes in the receiver. I'm thinking that would be a total of about 12 tubes in all, or plus or minus or something?
Yeah, I guess. I'm not sure. One of these days I'll get a count on it, let you know.
Yeah, I think the transmitter, I've got something somewhere where it says the transmitter only has 5. The typical transmitter, I don't think they were any different. They were all the same, regardless of whether it was 12 channels or 23 channels or whatever. It was about 5 tubes, and then you got to add the receiver to it. So we've got that. Our radio number 10, which is what you are on now. Tell us about that item of interest. Over.
Okay. Well, I guess I won't be 11. Let somebody else be that. This is the Golden Beagle from Browning Laboratories. And this is the R68T68. And this is the Mod B, the one with the RF gain control on the receiver and the on-air light on the transmitter.
Very good. All right, well, let's see. Series 2. I'm coming with a blank. Series 2. Well, that's close. And then there's one from Bob Milam's collection. Just the transmitter. Well, as always, that radio sounds good. I don't think I've ever heard that radio sound wacky at all.
Well, actually, you've heard this one the last couple of weeks here. You heard it once or twice over at the other place. but then it's been in storage. And when I moved storage really quick, I set this one up so I'd have one. Anyway, that's this one, and it does not have the custom D104, but it does have a on-amp D104.
Yeah, good choices. Doesn't sound overmodulated, not hearing echoing off the walls. And I forgot, that's right, you did not have, you had the R27S23 for a few weeks before you got that in as well. So that'll go down as radio, we'll make it radio, radio 10. All right, I'm making sure I didn't miss anything here. I had the 123, the Buddy Bass, and that. All right, good deal. So I got you in there. We heard you on the crossband as I've got it piped into the board. So you made I don't know where you were. You're probably not too far away because you were actually hearing me on that. I know you weren't in Modesto when you checked in on Simplex. And I see an SWL check-in. So, all right, thank you, Harvey. We got everything checked in, and thanks for answering our question about the control on the Robin radio.
You betcha. Actually, the first one you heard me on was the S9 R2700 setup, which is just to the left of this, with a gold D104. That's the one that would echo throughout the room. That's the one that I don't have on right now because I still haven't changed the pin cap in it, and that thing just lasts way too long. Okay, I'll turn it back to you, and we'll catch you next week.
All right, good deal. Well, they're getting restless outside the studio. I think the sugar has hit in, and the jingle singers are out with the lawnmower doing something out there. I want to say hello to, let me get up on the big board here. Hello to Mitch, SWL23. The 23 Skidoo had skedaddled tonight, but made it into the Radio Shack just in time for our final Halloween activities. Also, doing some counting and amounting here shortly. Chrissy says, make sure I print up the right list. Well, I printed up the new list. I will bring it by next week. I found some of the old papers from the 1980s where I would write them out by hand. I guess all the net controllers said my handwriting was the least worst. And there was, back in that time, we had a printer that would only print lines. And so I had to fill in the lines. See, now I don't have to do that, but I still have to type in the updates and all the new dates, which go here. So at the top, we put all the dates, and for some reason, I didn't get I had a handwritten note on the other one that didn't get in. So I'm going to redo everything, but at least I've got the hard part done, and I will get all the numbers in there correct. So when the roll call happens next week, and everybody is in their bright, shiny places with their bright, shiny faces, they will be correct because I will call them at the right time. Oh, wait a minute. Now what's going on? I hear sirens. Bozo Control is probably wreaking havoc out there. I will be right back to end this program.
Oh, by the way, while I was moving, I found the roll call sheet from 2015 when I did roll call one time.
Yeah, see, we've had a lot of net controllers in the last 35 years. I was trying to count how many, and it's a lot, because there are some people like you who did it one time, as a favor because everybody was gone or somebody wasn't here or whatever. Everybody does a good job, so I have to figure out how to rotate this thing around a little bit. All right, back in a moment. But it's always fun to look at. I looked at the one from 1989, and it's like, holy cow, 30-something years ago. And where are all those stations? There were some numbers that were still the same, but not many. And then there were just a lot of names and handles. I'm thinking, where did these people go? There's just not that many people on the CB radio anymore.
feel bad when I moved this one desk out of, I dumped some stuff out of the drawers. I'm going to move this desk over here. When I went through the desk drawers, I found radio paperwork from here from 1980.
Was that receipts from when you bought all that great gear?
I don't know, but it had OTR on it, and my number, which wasn't 20, I gotta look at it. And then somebody else was in charge of roll call with you. I think I kept that paper when I moved stuff over here, but it was from 1980.
Yeah. I think we started doing informal stuff like the 85 or so. We weren't really keeping any big lists, and then from there it got out of hand.
Oh yeah. Well, I moved here in I think September. Sometime in '79. Set up the radio, was listening here and there. And I think sometime in 1980, there was something about old tube radio. Because I wrote a bunch of stuff down, took some notes, and I just found them. And the date on there is somewhere in 1980.
Indeed it was. And I'm sure a lot of us were out and about with our radios before there was any formal stuff going on. All right, let me clear the frequency here, and we'll see. There's a lot of people signing out. It is late. It is late all over the place, but I think we are gaining an hour if we remember how to do this. And next week I will figure out how to wire in the J38 key, because no matter what I do, this foot switch just doesn't. You have to put way too much pressure on it to work correctly. Back in a moment here. Where's Mr. Announcer and our fanfare?
Ladies and gentlemen, time now for the current OTR Totals.
All right, the current OTR totals, good thing. We had 10 radios checking tonight in the SWLs, such that they might be, regardless of whether they're in the right spot on the list or not. They are still the shortwave listeners. You know, I need some background. Let me bring in the HF radio while we read the thing. I hope I can do this without messing up my thing. I'm gonna... Oh, hey, there you go. There's a data stream at 6983. I don't think that's pirate radio. Let me see. Give it one more try here. Yep. All right, we'll go with the... Is that ALE? There's some type of data stream there. Let's leave it in the background. And go to some apropos picture. Here we go. We had 16... Better turn that down. We had 16 SWLs on page 1, 15 on page 2, 15 on page 3, and 19 on page 4. I think it gives us a total of 66. I've got the tube count, but it's all individuals. I didn't add it up, which I could actually do. And I'll do it quickly on the fly here. Also apologize for the comments, at least not working on my end. They might have worked. They might have worked for somebody else, but I just wasn't seeing anything tonight, and there wasn't anything I could do to make them show up. So we'll see if that's some error on my part, on my end, or if it's just the comments are going away, which I hope not. We're trying to figure out how to make Flash work. Flash, which is what the old2radio.net page runs on, is going away at the end of the year. So that may be a bad thing. 65 SWLs, 10 radios. We heard 2 of the Brownings tonight, 2 of the Robins tonight, 2 of the general radio telephones, and a host of others. We'll read them off right now. There's that data stream. It's 6946. Looking for some pirate radio tonight on the HF bands. Started off with the Hallicrafters CB1 from Mr. Green Arrow. Hallicrafters first in radio into 1959. And that is back when, I didn't realize, when they had the Sunspot cycle, that was the best one ever recorded. It was 1958, 1969, 1960. That's when they started the Class D band. So that means everybody that was getting a Class D radio immediately set up to 11 meters. And the conditions were so good that on 5 watts, it was very easy to talk across the state, to talk across the world at 5 watts, which was absolutely forbidden by the FCC. So the FCC blew it in many ways. That was like the worst time to start Class D radio if you're telling people that it is not for talking long distances. And then you set them up in the best solar cycle ever, and everybody's talking across the U.S. with 5 watts. How does that work? And the CB1 would have been one of those radios. Radio number 2, the Browning Golden Eagle Mark III SSB. That was from Jerry. Radio number 3 from Mr. Ed, the Robin T123. The tube count, by the way, I've got 123 total tubes spread out between our 10 radios tonight. Radio number 4, Paul on the Utica Town and Country, the MC27. Maybe we'll have to figure out what would happen if you can get a Demko modulator behind that radio. Radio number 5, Ed, Mr. Ed on the Tram TR27E, the Green Machine. And lots of magic eyes tonight. Thanks for those stations that went a little extra effort to keep our check-ins a little bit spooky. Radio number 6, Paul on the General Radio Telephone Super MC8, the first of their MC series. Radio number 7 was Jerry on the General Radio Telephone MC5. Really, really sounding good. Whatever has happened to that radio is good all the way around. So don't drop it anymore. Be very nice to it. Radio number 8, the Robin T123, and that was from our 00, Michael on the Radio 8. Radio 9, Harvey on the Buddy Base RC11B, TX11B Marina, Communications number 459. And the Mod 2 Golden Beagle from Browning Laboratories, the R68, T68, was radio number 10 tonight. Thanks, everybody. Go have some more candy, won't you? And I'm going to head over to the green room and see if there's any of that cauldron brew stew or whatever they're making over there left. Thanks for participating. I don't hear any pirate radios. I don't hear the Sprint people running. What happened to our HF bands? They just kind of went away. Good night, everybody. Thanks to SurgeLawrence.com and Frodex for keeping the Nixie tubes running, and we will catch you all next week. And I bet things will be just a little bit less cattywampus out there. Yeah, indeed. All right, I will catch you next time. I'm wrapped up in wires here. I've got to untangle.
noche, Salvador. Me llamo Bobby. En tu reporto 59 más 10. 59 más 10. Go ahead.
Good night, everybody. Let's put this thing to bed.